Ji-hai sat on her old couch in a small apartment in Seoul. The walls were thin, and the city noise came through the windows. It was late at night, but Ji-hai was wide awake. She had just finished another long day of searching for jobs, with no luck. Her phone buzzed again. It was a message from her best friend, Min-seo. "Are you watching the bonding games tonight?" Min-seo asked. Ji-hai smiled. "No. Why? It's just a silly show for rich aliens, right?" Min-seo laughed in her message. "You never know, maybe you'll get picked. You should try, I signed you up already." Ji-hai nearly dropped her phone. "You did what?" Min-seo's answer came fast. "It's just for fun. No harm. You might get famous." Ji-hai was not sure. The bonding games were a big event across the galaxy. Every few years, all kinds of aliens showed their strongest warriors in a huge arena. The best fighters were called gladiators. The gladiators fought, but the event was not just about war. It was also about love. The winning gladiator got to choose a partner from the crowd. The chosen one would become their bonded mate for life. The problem was, most aliens were very tall and strong, and humans were small and weak. No human had ever been chosen. People thought humans were too fragile to survive the tough life. With a gladiator, Ji-hai did not expect anything to happen. But Min-seo's message stayed in her mind. For a moment she dreamed about being chosen. It was a silly thought, but it made her smile. The night was cold and the stars shone bright outside. Ji-hai opened the news app on her old tablet. The bonding games were on live TV. The screen showed a giant stadium floating in space, filled with many creatures. The crowd was loud and full of excitement. "Welcome to the 18th Bonding Games," the announcer said. His voice was deep and calm. "Tonight you will see the strongest warriors in the galaxy compete. And maybe one lucky soul will be chosen to bond with a champion." Ji-hai leaned forward. The camera moved to the arena, where a large figure stood tall. His skin was blue-green with shiny scales like armor. He was over 13 feet tall. The name under him read, Korvac. Korvac was a legend. He was the undefeated champion. Many had tried to beat him, but none had succeeded. He was known not only for his strength, but for his honor. People respected him across the stars. The show started. Fighters entered the arena and faced each other in fierce battles. The crowd cheered and shouted names. Ji-hai watched with wide eyes. The noise was loud even through her tablet speakers. Suddenly a voice said, "And now, the moment you have all waited for, Korvac will select his bonded mate." Ji-hai's heart beat fast. She stared at the huge figure. She could not believe what was coming next. The giant warrior walked to the center of the arena. His eyes scanned the crowd. The camera zoomed in on many faces, showing aliens of different shapes and sizes. Ji-hai felt the tablet shake in her hand as the broadcast continued. The crowd held its breath. Korvac raised his huge hand. His fingers were as thick as tree trunks. Then he pointed straight at Ji-hai. The screen flashed. "Chosen!" Ji-hai blinked. Was this real? Was she dreaming? The announcer's voice was shocked. "This is unbelievable. The champion Korvac has chosen a human, a small, weak human from Earth." The crowd erupted in cheers and gasps. On Earth, people watched in shock and disbelief. Ji-hai's face was on every news channel. Her phone exploded with messages and calls. Min-seo called first. "Ji-hai, you did it. You're on TV. Everyone is talking about you." Ji-hai was scared but also excited. She never wanted to be famous. But now she could not run away. The next day, reporters came to her door. Cameras flashed in her face. She was nervous but tried to stay calm. "Why did you apply?" one reporter asked. Ji-hai smiled weakly. "I didn't. My friend signed me up." "Do you think you can live with Korvac?" another reporter asked. Ji-hai looked down. "I don't know, but I want to try." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, many aliens were surprised and angry. Some said humans were not worthy of the honor. They whispered that the games were ruined. Korvac watched the broadcast from his ship. He was calm but serious. Choosing Ji-hai was not easy. He saw something in her, Something no one else noticed. Something strong. Jihai's life changed. Overnight. She was no longer just a girl from Seoul. She was the chosen one, a human bonded to a giant alien warrior. The story of Jihai and Korvac was about to begin. Jihai's heart pounded as she stepped onto the large ship that would take her away from Earth. The ship was huge and strange, filled with lights and sounds she had never seen before. Her small suitcase felt heavy in her hand. Korvac was waiting for her on the main deck. The giant alien looked even bigger up close. His blue-green scales shimmered under the bright lights. His eyes were sharp, but kind. Jihai felt a mix of fear and hope. "Welcome, Jihai," Korvac said in a deep voice. His words were slow but clear. "You are brave to come here." Jihai swallowed hard. "Thank you, Korvac. I want to learn." Korvac nodded. "Good. You must learn if you want to be my bonded mate." Jihai looked around the ship. The walls were smooth and cool. Strange plants in glass pots glowed softly. Other aliens passed by, some looking at her with curiosity, others with doubt. A small door opened, and a man stepped out. He was human, like Jihai, but taller and stronger. His name was Donghuan. He smiled warmly. "Hello," Donghuan said. "I was chosen years ago, like you. I will help you." Jihai felt relief. She was not alone. The ship moved through space like a giant bird. Outside the windows, stars passed by quickly. Korvac explained the bond ritual to Jihai. "This is not a simple marriage. It is a sacred promise. We must be strong together, body, mind, and spirit." Jihai listened carefully. She wanted to understand this new world. The Alien Council was waiting for her. The Council was a group of wise leaders from many planets. They tested every chosen mate to see if they were worthy. Jihai was nervous when she entered the Council chamber. The room was round with high ceilings and many seats. The leaders watched her with serious eyes. "Why do you want to bond with Korvac?" asked one leader, a tall alien with purple skin. Jihai took a deep breath. "Because I believe we can help each other. I may be small, but I have courage," the council whispered among themselves. Some looked doubtful. After the questions, Jihai was led to the training area. It was a large room with soft floors and many tools. Donghuan was there waiting. "First, you will learn to move like a warrior," Donghuan said. "You must be quick and strong." Jihai tried to follow his instructions. She fell many times but kept getting up. Days passed. Jihai trained every morning and night. She learned to fight, to run, and to think fast. Korvac watched from the side, offering advice and encouragement. One day, Jihai asked Korvac, "Why did you choose me?" Korvac looked at her carefully. "Because you did not run away. Because you did not fear me. You have a fire inside." Jihai smiled. It felt good to be seen, but not everyone was happy. Some alien nobles believed humans were too weak and unworthy. They spoke in secret, planning to stop Jihai. Meanwhile, Jihai met Areum, a woman who worked to understand alien languages. Areum was smart and kind. She helped Jihai read old texts about the bond ritual. Together they discovered that the ritual was about respect and trust, not just strength. Jihai also heard stories about Korvac's past. He had lost his family in a war long ago. The war had started because of humans. This made Korvac's choice even more surprising. Despite the danger, Jihai felt ready. She was changing. She was becoming stronger, braver. One evening, Korvac took Jihai to a quiet place on the ship. Stars shone through a large window. "Tomorrow you will face the trials," Korvac said. "They will test your heart and mind." Jihai nodded. "I am ready." Korvac smiled. "Good, because after the trials you will not just be my chosen. You will be my partner." Jihai looked at the stars and felt hope. Her life had changed forever. She was no longer just a girl from Seoul. She was the chosen mate of a great alien warrior. The trials were coming, and Jihai knew she must be strong, for herself, for Korvac, and for all humans. The day of the trials arrived quickly. Jihai woke early and looked out the large window of Korvac's ship. Stars sparkled like tiny diamonds against the black sky. Her heart was full of nerves and hope. Today, she would prove herself. Korvac was waiting outside her room. His tall figure blocked the light, but his eyes were soft and steady. "Are you ready?" he asked. Jihai took a deep breath and nodded. "I am." The trials were held in a great arena inside the ship. It was not like the fighting arena she had seen on Earth. This place was calm and bright. The floor was smooth, and the air smelled fresh like a forest. The first trial was called the Trial of Courage. Jihai was led to a small platform in the center. Suddenly a large creature appeared. It had many legs and sharp claws. Its eyes glowed red. Jihai's heart jumped. She wanted to run, but Korvac's voice was in her mind. "Do not run." She held her ground. The creature came closer, but it did not attack. Instead, it looked at her carefully. Jihai remembered what Areum had told her. The trials are not about fighting. They are about showing who you really are. Jihai spoke softly to the creature. "I am not your enemy." The creature's eyes softened. It bowed its head, and the trial ended. Next was the trial of empathy. Jihai was shown visions of pain and loss. She saw families torn apart, worlds destroyed, and warriors who had lost friends. Tears came to her eyes. She was asked to speak words of comfort to the visions. She said, "I feel your pain. You are not alone." The council watched her carefully. Her words touched them. The third trial was the trial of honor. Jihai was placed in a room with two paths. One path was easy but selfish. The other was hard but helped others. Jihai chose the harder path. She helped an injured alien even though it slowed her down. When she finished, Korvac smiled. "You have shown true honor." Days passed as Jihai went through more tests. She learned to trust herself and to understand Korvac better. He shared stories of his childhood growing up during a terrible war. Jihai asked, "Why did you choose me when humans caused your pain?" Korvac looked away for a moment. "Because you are not like others. You see beyond the past." Their bond grew stronger with each day. Back on Earth, Jihi's story spread like wildfire. Some people were proud. They cheered for her courage. Others were angry. They said she was giving up on humanity. Jihai heard the voices but tried to focus on the trials. She knew she must be strong. One evening, Areum came to Jihai with news. "There are aliens who want to stop the bond. They say a human should not be chosen." Jihai felt a chill. "What can we do?" Areum smiled. "We will face them together." Korvac stood by her side, his presence like a shield. "I will protect you." The next days were tense. Secret meetings and whispers filled the ship. Jihai trained harder. She learned not only to fight, but to speak for herself. Korvac taught her the ancient language of the gladiators. Their words were strong and beautiful. Jihai felt proud to learn. One night, Korvac took Jihai to a quiet garden inside the ship. The plants glowed softly in the dark. She looked at him and said, "I am scared, but I want to be brave." Korvac held her hand. "You are already brave, Jihi. Your heart is stronger than most warriors." Jihi smiled. She felt a new strength inside her. The trials were almost over. Jihai was no longer just a small human girl. She was a warrior of heart and mind, ready to face whatever came next. She looked at Korvac and said, "Thank you for choosing me." Korvac's eyes shone. "Thank you for standing with me." Together they faced the future, two souls from different worlds bound by courage and honor. The calm before the final ceremony did not last long. The joy of Jihai's success was shadowed by dark whispers and secret threats. Some aliens, especially the old nobles and purists, did not want a human to join the bond. They believed humans were weak and dangerous, a risk to the great traditions of the galaxy. One night, as Ji-Hai and Korvac walked through the ship's quiet halls, they noticed something strange. The lights flickered. The soft hum of the ship changed to a low growl. Korvac stopped and looked around. "We are not alone," he said. Ji-Hai's heart beat fast. She held Korvac's hand tightly. Suddenly, alarms rang out. The ship shook with a strong blast. "We are under attack," a voice announced over the loudspeakers. Ji-Hai and Korvac rushed toward the source of the explosion. The hall was filled with smoke and dust. A group of masked aliens, armed and dangerous, had broken into the ship. They were the saboteurs, members of the purist faction who wanted to stop the bond at any cost. Korvac roared and raised his massive fists. He fought fiercely, protecting Ji-Hai and the others nearby. But in the fight, Korvac was hit by a powerful energy blast. He fell to the floor wounded. Ji-Hai's eyes filled with tears. "Korvac!" Donghuan and Arium rushed to help. Donghuan held Korvac's arm, trying to stop the bleeding, while Arium called for medical help. The saboteurs fled before the ship's guards could catch them, leaving destruction behind. Ji-Hai knelt beside Korvac. "You have to be okay," she whispered. "I need you." Korvac opened his eyes weakly. "Ji-Hai, you are stronger than I thought." The attack shocked everyone. The council called an emergency meeting. They were angry and afraid. The purists wanted to cancel the bond and punish Ji-Hai. But Ji-Hai refused to give up. She stood before the council, her voice clear and strong. "I will not run. I will face this challenge. If I can protect Korvac, I can protect this bond." The council was silent. Ji-Hai's courage moved some of the leaders. "We will allow the final ceremony," the council leader said. "But you must prove yourself once more." Ji-Hai knew what this meant. She had to lead a mission to find the saboteurs and stop their plans. With Donghuan, Areum, and a surprising ally named Threx, a former purist who had changed sides, Ji-Hai formed a small team. They trained together, learning how to move quietly and fight smart. The mission was dangerous. They traveled to a secret base on a distant moon. The base was dark and cold, filled with traps and guards. Ji-Hai felt fear, but she did not show it. She remembered Korvac's words. "Your fire inside is strong." The team moved carefully. Donghuan used his strength to clear paths. Arum hacked the security systems with her skills. Threx guided them through secret tunnels. Finally, they reached the heart of the base. The saboteur leader was there, ready to stop Ji-Hai. "You do not belong here," the leader sneered. "Humans are weak and will ruin us all." Ji-Hai stood, tall. "I am not weak. I fight for peace and respect." The leader challenged her to a duel, not with weapons, but with words and wisdom. It was an old tradition called the bloodless duel. It tested who was wiser and stronger in spirit. Ji-Hai listened carefully. She spoke with kindness and honesty. She told stories of human courage, of hope and change. She showed how strength comes, not only from power but from heart. The saboteur leader was surprised. Slowly, his anger faded. The council watched the duel through a live feed. When Ji-Hai spoke her final words, the silence was deep. The leader lowered his head. "You have won, Ji-Hai. Your words are strong." The mission was a success. The saboteurs were stopped and peace returned to the ship. Korvac healed slowly. When he saw Ji-Hai, his smile was full of pride. "You fought with honor," he said. Ji-Hai smiled back. "I fight for us." The final ceremony was near. The galaxy watched with hope and curiosity. Ji-Hai and Korvac prepared to walk together, not as warrior and chosen, but as equals, partners in a new future. Ji-Hai stood in front of a large mirror in her private room aboard the great alien ship. She wore a special ceremonial robe made of soft silver fabric that shimmered like starlight. Her hands trembled slightly, but her heart was calm. Today was not just about her and Korvac. It was about proving that two hearts from different worlds could become one. Arium entered the room with a smile. "You look beautiful," she said softly. Jihaya turned and smiled back. Thank you, I still can't believe this is real. You earned it, Reum said. You faced fear, hate, and pain, and you didn't run. Donghuan joined them, dressed in formal warrior robes. The arena is full, he said. Millions are watching, not just here, but across the galaxy. Jihai took a deep breath. Then let's show them that love and courage still matter. The doors opened. Bright light filled the hallway. A soft hum of alien music echoed through the walls. Jihai walked forward slowly, each step strong and sure. In the grand arena, thousands of aliens stood in rows, their eyes fixed on her. The council members sat on high chairs, watching with serious faces. Floating cameras followed her from above, broadcasting the ceremony live to many planets. Korvac stood in the center of the arena. He wore his warrior armor, polished and proud. When he saw Jihai, a warm smile crossed his face. His large hand stretched out to her. She took it. The arena went quiet. A tall, golden-skinned alien called the Bondmaster stepped forward. His voice was deep and full of power. Today, we witness a rare bond, one built not by blood or race, but by choice and honor. He turned to Korvac. Do you accept Jihai as your life mate, your equal, your shield and heart? Korvac spoke without hesitation. I do. The Bondmaster turned to Jihai. Do you accept Korvac, not as a prize, but as your partner and protector, your strength and your peace? Jihai lifted her head high. I do. The Bondmaster nodded. Then let the bond be sealed. He gave them a glowing crystal. It was warm in Jihai's hand. She and Korvac held it together. The light from the crystal grew brighter and brighter until it covered the whole arena. Suddenly, Jihai felt a wave of energy flow through her. She saw memories. Korvac's childhood, his battles, his losses, his hopes, and she knew he was seeing hers too. Her lonely days, her love for her family, her dreams of doing something great. When the light faded, the crystal floated in the air and then split in two. One half went to Jihi, the other to Korvac. They would carry the bond inside them forever. The arena exploded in cheers. Aliens clapped their hands, stomped their feet, and waved their arms. Even the council members smiled, but not all were. Happy, hidden in the shadows, one last purist stood with angry eyes. He held a weapon, sharp and deadly. I will not let this bond stand, he whispered to himself. He moved quickly toward the center of the arena. Jihai saw him first. Her eyes widened. Korvac! She shouted. The warrior turned just in time. The purist leaped, blade raised high. Jihai did not hesitate. She threw herself forward, pushing Korvac out of the way. The blade scratched her shoulder. Pain shot through her, but she stayed on her feet. Korvac roared and grabbed the attacker. With one move, he disarmed him and threw him to the ground. Guards rushed in and took the purist away. Blood ran down Jihai's arm. Korvac rushed to her side, holding her gently. You protected me, he said, eyes wide with shock and pride. Jihai winced but smiled. That's what bonded mates do, right? The council stood. The leader stepped forward. Let this moment be remembered. The bond between Korvac and Jihai is not only real, it is powerful. He raised his hand. From this day, let humans be welcome in the Council of Worlds. More cheers rose. Even some of the purist supporters dropped their heads, ashamed. Later, in the healing room, Jihai sat quietly while a medic patched up her shoulder. Korvac sat beside her. You saved my life, he said softly, and you've saved mine more than once. She replied. He took her hand. This bond, it's more than tradition now. It's a symbol. Jihai nodded. A symbol that hearts can change, that two different worlds can find peace. The days that followed were full of celebrations. Songs were sung in many languages. Gifts arrived from faraway planets. Earth's leaders sent a message of peace and thanks. But Jihai and Korvac stayed away from the spotlight. They walked through the ship's gardens, holding hands and enjoying the quiet. I used to think I was just an ordinary girl, Jihai said one night, looking at the stars. Korvac pulled her close. And I used to think no one could understand my heart. They looked at each other. But we were both wrong, Jihai whispered. Together they watched the stars. Two beings, one small and human, one tall and alien, bound not by duty or war but by choice, respect, and love. And somewhere across the galaxy others began to believe too.